it's Holiday Branch and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I have another video for you guys. And this video is about my IUD. That's so fucking gross. Oh shit. For those who are new here, hi, what's up? My name is Holiday Branch and welcome to my YouTube channel. I like to post videos here every single week. I like to post about my life, story times, vlogs, and if you guys like that type of shit, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, this video, it's kind of like a story time. Actually, yeah, it's kind of like a story time / share my experience / commentary on my IUD. For those who follow me on Instagram, you guys already know that I actually went to the gynecologist this weekend to replace my IUD. Now, for those who don't follow me on Instagram, I highly suggest that you do. My Instagram name is I am Holiday Branch. And so on my story, I actually posted a photo of like my box, my Mirena box, and a bottle of iodine solution and cotton wipes. And I end up posting a poll saying like, hey ladies, do you guys want me to do a video about my IUD experience? And I got an overwhelming response of like so many girls saying like, oh my god, girl, yes, I want a video. And then I had so many girls DM me as well saying like, Holiday, like tell me about your experience. Like I'm thinking about getting on birth control. And then I had so many girls as well that were like, no, Holiday, don't do it. Like I had the IUD and it was a terrible fucking decision. It ruined my face. It like I gained so much weight, and I was just like, girl, like I'm sorry that was your experience, but like this is my second one. Like I'm on my second one right now. So I didn't want to do the video because I was just like, oh my god, like this is so fucking gross. I'm gonna be talking about my pussy. I don't know, I just feel like it's such a personal experience. But then when I went online, I literally like I was just like checking if there's any videos, and like there's so many girls who are sharing their stories about their IUD, but it's not a good story, I swear to god. And of course, because it's the internet, like when people like to talk, it's not always about like good things. They're always like complaining about something or someone. And so there's like a bunch of horror stories like on YouTube. Like if you go on YouTube, like IUD, my experience is just nothing but horror stories. And like I'm not saying like their feelings are not valid, because I'm pretty sure they had a terrible fucking experience with the IUD. I mean, you're putting something foreign inside your fucking body, but my experience is completely different. I have nothing but positive things to say about the IUD. And so here is the video about my IUD experience, my journey with birth control, and my advice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also do want to say that I am in no way, shape, or form qualified to be giving medical advice. I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse. I'm not a practitioner. I'm not an OBGYN. I'm just a girl who just uses birth control, and I ask a lot of questions to my OBGYN. I highly suggest that you also do as well. Go to Planned Parenthood, go to your doctor. There's just so many resources. Always ask. Like your body is super important. Your body's a temple. Take care of it. Be responsible. I'm just sharing my experience because I wish I had an older sister. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I had an older sister, or I wish at the time I had the trust, like I can trust my mom to like ask this type of questions, but I didn't. And so that's kind of me sharing the story of my birth control experience and how I ended up here. So as you guys can tell, I am fucking Latina. I'm a dark-skinned fucking Mexican. And because of that, I feel like that contributes to a lot of my ignorance about sexual health as a young age. And it's not because like, you know, I'm not blaming my family or anything like that. It's just that like my mom nor my dad wanted to talk about sex with me. I don't think they want to. It's just like I feel like they were kind of depending on the school system to like do it, because like I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking weird to talk to your children about sex. But the thing is that when I was going to school, I actually was attending Fireball High School. It was in Linwood, and of course it's at the fucking hood. And when I was attending school, there were so many massive budget cuts, and they were cutting so many fucking classes. And of course, one of them was health class. So when I was coming of age, there were so many different factors coming in. My family didn't talk to me about sex. My school didn't provide any type of sexual, education. And I remember one time we actually had like a nonprofit organization come to our school, and they were promoting like abstinence only sexual education. It was just like, literally, like, I had like no information about sexual health or anything like that, like at my, ability, I guess I could say. Like, I just didn't have that type of resources available to me. And when I started becoming sexually active at like age of like 19 or 20, I think, of course, I was using condoms. And that's the only thing that I knew, is that if I was going to have sex, that I can use condoms. But I'm not gonna lie, because I was like very ignorant. Every time when I had sex, even though I was using condoms, I always had like this neurotic like type like behavior like after having sex, and where I was like thinking that I might have done something wrong. Maybe this is the time and where like condoms won't be working for me. It's not going to be in my favor, and there might come a point in where like I'm going to get pregnant. So literally every time when I was having sex with condoms, I would always be neurotic, and I would be like, fuck, like, I hope I get my fucking period. Like, I don't want to get pregnant. Like, I literally was like very neurotic. And there came a point in where I literally started buying Plan B. Now, if you know anything about Plan B, you should not be using Plan B as a form of birth control. And the reason why is because Plan B is like this intense concentration of hormones all in one pill. So if you're taking Plan B like regularly, it could fuck up your entire fucking reproductive system. So I was not using Plan B like as a form of birth control. And even if I was, it's like really fucking expensive. It's like $50 a pill. But there came a point in where like I was like, fuck, like every time when, I'm having sex, which is not all the time. I was not promiscuous as like a young adult. I was like, every time when I'm having sex, like I'm having this urgency of like, fuck, like I need to plan Plan B, because like there might be a chance that the condom failed on me. To be honest, that's just like not a healthy way of thinking, okay? Like if you're doing everything right, like in this case, like I was using condoms, there should be no fear, okay? So I literally was like, okay, I need to take a step back, and I need to take control of my sexual health. What is there I can do? So I was like, okay, I can take birth control. Now, you need to understand that like birth control is like, it's super, super like scary, especially for like an 18, 19-year-old. And it's like still scary for a lot of like, adults. And the reason why is because you're putting like a hormone inside your body. You're putting like a foreign object into your body. And so for me, the only type of birth control that I knew of was the shot, because that was something that my mom was taking. And so instead of going to my mom and ask her for, advice, I actually turned to Planned Parenthood. So I went there, and that was the time where like I got my first pap smear. They like gave me my first like STD test, and then they like taught me about like STDs and different types of symptoms. They like taught me like how to use condoms, even though like I already knew how to use condoms. They like told me like, different types of condoms, the latex, non-latex ones. They end up showing me like, how to like do self-examination around the breast. And like they like showed me everything that I needed to know about like my sexual health. And I know this sounds like really weird, because I'm like, this is things that like my mom should have taught me. But the thing is that like you need to understand that like my mom didn't taught me because like she thought that school taught me this, but at that time, like school budgets were like, getting cut. It was super, super short. And I remember like health class like was cut, and I was just limited. So like literally like I was just having sex with the little information that I knew at that time. The only thing that I knew is that I had to have condoms, but I didn't know about like testing. I didn't know about like infections. I didn't know anything about like yeast infections or bacterial vaginosis. Like I didn't know any of this. This was like all foreign to me. So once we had all of that shit done, the nurse like sat down with me and she was like, okay, so I know that you're here for birth control. So what type of birth control are you interested in? So I immediately went to the shot. I was like, well, the only birth control that I know is the shot because my mom takes the shot. So I want to take this shot. And she had to like, you know, like take me a step back. And she was just like, listen, Holiday, like, if I was just any other doctor, I would be like, okay, give her the shot. But the thing is that I don't want to just give you the shot just because you want to. I want to educate you first about the different types of birth control, and they do have side effects. And so I just want you to know that you're not limited to just like the shot or just the pill. There's different types of birth controls, and the reason why there's so many types of birth controls is because not every person is suitable for any type of birth control. There's always that one birth control that is good for the patient. The patient benefits from it the most. And so I want you to explore different types of birth control. I can give you the shot, but I wouldn't recommend the shot. And the reason why is because number one, you've never been pregnant. So it's going to be a lot of hormones for you all in one take. And, you know, putting hormones in your body, especially in like all in one shot that you have to take every single month, it might be, you know, aversive to you. You might have mood swings. You might have like intense cramping. You might have intense weight gain. So before I give you the shot, I just want you to explore different options. So I was like, okay, so I went straight to the old school traditional, you know, pack of birth controls. So I was given a prescription for birth controls, and like, oh my God, you guys, that shit was fucking terrible. I swear to God, like within like the second or third day, I literally was feeling the fucking side effects. I was waking up with like morning sickness, super dizzy. I was gagging. I like if I smelled like food, like in this case like coffee, I would like gag on it. Like for a whole day I was like, bitch, like am I pregnant? Like this is what exactly women feel when they're pregnant. Like like oh my God, like I must be pregnant. But then I had to realize like, no, I'm not pregnant, I'm taking birth control. Literally threw that fucking box away. Like went back to Planned Parenthood, and the nurse was like, what happened? And I was like, I fucking hate the pill. I do not want to take the pill. It's a fucking terrible. Like I felt like I was pregnant. And so she had to explain to me, those are the symptoms, those are the side effects that you were experiencing. So now I know that the pills are not for you. So I was like, okay, what other options do I have next? And she's like, well, you can have the ring, hormonal ring. It kind of looks like a condom that you like put inside your fucking vagina, and you change it for like every single week. And so at this time, I think I was like 20, and I was still wearing pads. This is like how inexperienced I was. Like I was still wearing pads at the age of 20. And so I was like, well, I don't use tampons. No way I can shove a fucking ring every single fucking week. Like there's no way. So we threw that idea out of the window. And so she was like, well, the other one is the implants. So there's 3 different types of implants. There is the Nexplanon, which is the arm one. And then there's the Mirena IUD, which is the one that I have. And then there's the copper IUD. And so I was like, okay, what is the difference between all of these 3 implants? So the doctor was all like, okay, so this is how it works. They're all different by the longevity. So the Nexplanon is good for 3 years. The Mirena is good for 5 years. And the copper is good for 10 years. So I was like, okay, awesome. So how does it work? So the doctor was like, well, the Mirena and the Nexplanon are both hormonal. And yes, there might be a chance that you might experience side effects. So what's the difference between the copper? Like, how does the copper work? It's non-hormonal. Like, how does that work? So she was like, well, that's a really good question. She's like, well, the sperm is actually like allergic. I think that's the word that she used, but she's like, sperm is allergic to copper. So spermies are like swimming, you know, trying to reach the egg. They'll die once they have reached the copper IUD. And so they never get to the egg. So that's why it's good for 10 years, because, you know, there's no like, it's just copper, you know? I was just like scared that my partner was gonna have like super sperm and like it was just going to reach my egg, you know, it was gonna be immune to the copper. So immediately I erased the copper IUD out of my head. And down to 2 birth controls, the Nexplanon and the Mirena. So the doctor was like super chill about it. She was like, okay, I usually recommend the IUD for people who've already had kids before. And the reason why is because when you have kids, your body already has experienced dilation before. But of course, you being this, you know, virgin, you never experienced dilation. So it's probably going to hurt when we insert the IUD, because we're going to force your body to dilate. It's not going to be that much. It's probably going to be, I think it was like 3 or 5 inches. It's not going to be that much. It's going to be for about 5 minutes. You're going to feel like a very intense cramping, and your back might hurt a little bit. But I promise you that the insertion is going to take no more than 5 minutes. It's about inserting the IUD, cutting the strings, making sure that it's in place, and then close you out, and you can literally walk home, like literally that same day. You might be bleeding for the next 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more, but it's literally nothing like the Nexplanon. And where like, you know, it's a little bit more invasive. It's a little bit more, you know, it's in your arm. Like you need your arm to move. But she was like, I highly recommend the IUD. I've used the IUD before and I've never had any problems. So do you want to take that one? So I was like, you know what? Like, I'd rather like shove something inside my pussy than rather have something in my arm. That was like my fucking decision. And not gonna lie, like majority of my decision based on the longevity too. I'd rather like wait 5 years to redo the entire fucking procedure than years. Like I don't want to, like if I can delay this procedure longer than I can, like I fucking will. So the day has come and we're like, I need to shove a foreign object inside my fucking vagina. I think what she said fucking happened. It literally took no more than a fucking 5 minutes to insert this IUD. It was fucking painful. Like I literally felt like Jesus was like grabbing my uterus and like squeezing it. That's how I felt. And I had a lot of bleeding, I'm not gonna lie. And the reason why was because like I'd never been dilated before. I swear to God, like when I got home, I felt like Jesus has punched my stomach. I felt like, you know, like it literally felt like if I had like the most intense fucking period session ever. Cramping so much. My lower back hurts. I was bleeding a lot. And so I just stayed home the entire day. And I didn't do anything. I ended up falling asleep that fucking day. Oh my God, it was terrible. And of course, because I am putting a foreign object, the nurse and the doctor told me, okay, like you literally cannot have sex for like about a week. And I was like, bitch, like I literally feel like I cannot have sex for a week. Like you just opened me. But they were like, no. It's not only because of that. It's because right now your body is being, it's adjusting to the hormones that is being released from your IUD. So you cannot have sex, because if you have sex, there might be a chance that you might get pregnant. I literally follow the rules. I was like, okay, I'm not going to have sex for about a week. And the second week, I'm just going to have condoms. And I'm letting you know, I've never gotten pregnant. So after the 3 weeks have passed, I didn't feel any fucking side effects I literally like forgot that I had the IUD. Like, I had no mood swings. I didn't feel dizzy. I didn't felt nauseous. I had no weight gain. I had no acne. There came a point in where like I was getting my period, but the thing is that my period was like coming as like speckles. It wasn't even enough to like wear a pad or like a tampon. Like, the only thing I needed to do was just like change my underwear, and that's it. And the only side effects that I was getting was intense cramping. So that's kind of when like I knew like, oh shit, like I'm about to get my period. But my period never came. Like, it never came. And so I haven't had a period in like 5 fucking years. And it's like funny because I have so many fucking people like always ask me like, Holiday, can I have a tampon? Do you have a pad with you? And I'm like, girl, like, I don't know shit about that life. Like, I haven't had a period in like 5 years. Of course, I had to get my IUD removed. I did get it in the year of 2015, and so it's the year of 2020. And they actually have like their little pamphlet, right? And I went there and I actually wanted to change my IUD, and I wanted to get the Nexplanon next. And my gynecologist, she's such a sweetheart. She was just like, okay, Holiday, so I know we're going to remove your IUD. Why do you want to get the Nexplanon? Like, tell me your experience with the IUD. So I told her, like, you know, my fucking God truth. I was just like, I love my IUD. I feel like it's done great for me. Like, I haven't had a period in like 5 years. I never had any type of side effects. The only reason why I want to change my IUD is because I have really intense cramping at times. And so I just want to like do something different. And so literally she reminded me so much of the nurse or the doctor that I had at Planned Parenthood. She was like, listen, I would gladly remove your IUD and replace it with the Nexplanon. But the thing is that if you're telling me that you're having really good experience with the IUD, why would you risk of receiving side effects with the Nexplanon? Like, you don't know if it might be the same thing as the IUD. I have a lot of girls come here to my fucking office and they think that that's the birth control for them, and then they're experiencing all of these mood swings, they're experiencing all of this weight gain, they're experiencing all of this acne. And she's like, and also I need to remind you that just because it's hormonal, it doesn't mean that it works the same way. I need to tell you that because it's in your arm, your hormones are being released all over your upper body, while like with the Mirena, the hormones is being released in your uterus. So it works completely different. Now, knowing what I just told you now, you still want to remove your IUD and replace it with the Nexplanon. Hell no, I did not want to risk that. I like told her straight out, thank you so much for putting common sense into my brain. I don't have any reasons why I would want to replace my IUD for another fucking type of birth control. If my IUD is working and I'd rather just stick to it. And so she was like, yeah, like, look, I can just be like any other doctor and be like, hey, you know what? The patient wants what she wants. I'm going to give her the Nexplanon. But the thing is that, like, if it's working for you, I don't know why you would take the risk to like change it for something else. She's like, I would only recommend a patient to change her birth control if it was giving her problems, if it started to take over her daily activities. And if it was working for you for this past 5 years, why not use it for another 5 years? So what I did, I ended up removing it, and it was the same procedure. I'm not gonna lie, it's just as painful as the first time that I did it, but it's the 3rd day and I haven't been bleeding at all. Like, literally, I've been having like small little speckles of like iodine like coming from like my insides, but like that's pretty much it. So would I recommend the IUD? I would totally recommend the IUD for any girl out there. It has worked for me, but if it doesn't work for you, I highly suggest you go back to your doctors and change it immediately. The reason why there's so many different birth controls is because there's one out there for you that might work. As I stated before, I'm not a nurse, I am not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm like nowhere near qualified to be giving medical advice. But definitely what I am recommending is for you to go talk to your doctor. If one birth control method doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean that like, you know, birth control in general doesn't work for you. There has to be some type of birth control that works for you. That's the reason why there's so many of them. And I highly advise you to go talk to your doctor or to your nurse. And if you don't have one, I highly suggest you go to Planned Parenthood. They're fucking amazing. Like, majority of the times it's free. But you know, I'm making this video because like when I was 18 years old, I didn't have like the trust level that I do now with my mom to like go talk to her about sex. I wish I did, but unfortunately I didn't. But I was really level-headed to like actually go ask for medical advice. I cannot tell you how many girls when I was growing up have gotten pregnant, have gotten STDs. I ended up finding out like years later that girls in my school like had like fucking like abortion stories. Like they literally had to learn through experience, and you don't have to go through that, especially like if you're like there like watching and you're like barely coming of age. I highly suggest you go talk to a doctor. Like go talk to a doctor. Like there's so many people out there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to share. I just wanted to share like why the Mirena works for me, and I love it. I understand that there's people who have negative experience with it. I completely empathize with you, but in my situation, I love that shit. I haven't had babies in 5 years, and I don't want to have a baby in the next 5 years neither. The only baby I want to have is Cubby. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully it works out for you. And like write down in the comments below, do you use some type of birth control? Like what type of birth control do you use? Are you interested now? Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.